Hello, friends. We often hear people complaining that they have no control over their lives. They complain about the problems they're having and often blame them on others, the state, the neighbors, their parents, or their boss, but never themselves. That may partially be true, but there are still those who take their lives under control and, despite all the problems, find a way out of difficult situations. So today, I'll tell you about an amazing couple that has been living in a mountain cave isolated from people for over 54 years. And despite all the problems they had to face, they didn't just manage to live a decent life, but even raised children and built a mini town with playgrounds, electricity, and many other benefits of civilization. When journalists first learned about this family, they were honestly shocked because they'd never seen anything like this before. But first things first, Liang Zifu was born in Ningchang, China. He was the seventh child in a family of a poor cobbler. That's why he learned to work with his hands at a young age, clearly understanding that success can only be achieved by hard work. By the time he turned 20 years old, he met Li, a beautiful young woman from a poor family. They soon fell in love with each other. The couple dreamed of a fancy wedding and their own place to live, but it wasn't easy given the financial situation of both families. They were tired of moving from small huts to rented houses and back, so they decided to find their own place. When all the family's optimistic plans for the future fell through several times, and the couple came to terms with the fact that they'll never have enough money to build a house, they decided to come up with an original way to secure a happy family life. One day, having only taken some food and a couple of tools, Liang and Li went far into the mountains, and no one has seen them ever since. Their journey through the hills began in 1962, and the couple's only goal was to find a big grotto. Settling in the mountains without food and amenities was definitely not an easy task, and the couple faced many difficulties. However, the main advantage of their decision was that the couple will have their own home, made by nature. Thus, the couple chose a huge cave. At that difficult time, everything the man learned as a boy helped him in setting up their house. The man quickly realized that he could get water by building a small canal to collect rainwater, and they could get food by setting traps for birds and animals. He also knew that dry wood and hay would make for a pretty good bed. And that's how the young family started living in a mountain cave. But it was just the beginning. Sometime later, the head of the family visited the nearest village, which was a 2-day walk away, and traded hides for a set of cutleries and plates and a couple of chickens. Since then, he would go to the village every other month. And now, we'll travel 54 years into the future, which is when, in 2016, the world accidentally learned about this amazing couple. Doing a story on traveling through the wild nature of China, a journalist named Bojing Bao suddenly saw suspicious smoke about 500 meters away. Daring to walk into the heart of a mysterious grotto in the mountains, Bojing and his cameraman saw a campfire with food being prepared on it. And then he saw Liang, who was feeding the cattle without noticing anyone. When Liang finally saw the unexpected guest, he was very surprised. But luckily, he didn't mind telling his story, which later amazed millions of people. After the couple organized their life at the new place, it turned out that it was actually very comfortable. Liang and Li had their own farm with a shed and paddocks, and even something that somewhat resembled plumbing. They had a couple of pigs, dozens of chickens, 4 dogs, and their own garden to grow vegetables and fruits. However, what surprised the journalists the most were the bedrooms, kitchen, and a huge living room, which had a modern TV, a radio, and all the furniture necessary for a comfortable life, and even a solar fan. So, after seeing the family's unusual mansion, the journalist was impressed by the number of modern household items Liang and Li owned. And they didn't just set up a house and lived happily in it, but also raised their 4 kids there and taught them everything. Of course, Liang and Li realized that one day their children would leave their home. That's why Liang taught their children to be independent by sending them to the village to get things they now had in their house. At first, the kids traded meat, eggs, and hides for clothes, flour, and hygienic products. But in a couple of years, a family of 6 accumulated many things that we usually see in our own homes. When the children felt confident enough to live on their own, All four of them left their parents' home on the same day, promising to come back and visit them. The journalist couldn't believe his eyes. He was so impressed by their story that he even decided to find Liang and Li's children. It turned out that their sons were no different from the other young people. They've all graduated college and had their own families, but they never forgot their parents. Responding to the journalist's questions, one of the couple's sons said that he had already asked his parents numerous times to move to the city or at least to the nearest village, but they refused to leave their home. Liang and Li confessed that they feel more than comfortable living in their cave. The air there is pleasantly cool during the summer, and winters are warm enough for them. They enjoy the climate there. The couple, however, is not uncivilized. Thanks to the TV and the do-it-yourself antenna, they know what's happening in the world, are even aware of the pandemic. Besides, they aren't planning on filing for pension benefits or standing in lines in stores. They feel truly free living in the mountains, and they won't trade this life for a noisy metropolis. Now Liang is 81 years old and Li is 78, and they still live in their grotto and take care of their farm, and they aren't planning to change anything. They are really happy there, and having spent all their life together and continuing to do so, and that's something money can't buy. So, if we were to describe all the different kinds of human happiness, this story would make a perfect example. It proves that even without money, documents, and a roof over your head, if you truly love someone, you can spend all your life with that person, even on the edge of the world, and be happy. So friends, how do you feel about this couple's choice? Would you be able to do the same? Be sure to share your thoughts in the comments below. And that's all for today. Like this video and see you soon. Bye!